Randy Gentry,
Here.
Nancy Alsop, Brenda Wilson,
Here.
Steve Ellis,
Here.
Vicky Wager,
Here.
Brad Anderson,
Here.
David Thompson.
Here. Councilwoman also texted and said she was not going to make the meeting today because she is sick. Correcting the journal of preceding meetings if needed. April 1st, 2025 Sunshine Meeting. Looks like that's on page 14. If there are no corrections, I will take a motion.
Make a motion we approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Anderson, second by Councilwoman Wager. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, minutes pass. B, April 8th meeting, 2025.
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Wilson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Anderson. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. And the special call meeting, April 23rd, 2025.
Mr. President,
Yes.
that's a legal question, please.
Yes.
Mr. Wright, I was texted and emailed saying that when a member is not present at a meeting, that they had no right to vote on the approval of minutes. And I looked up Robert Rules Order, and I don't believe a member actually loses their right to modify or vote on minutes. Do you have any input on that?
I would not have an opinion that is supported by anything other than what I've done in the past, Councilman Gentry. And what I mean by that is I'm not citing any statute here. My advice, counsel, on that issue previously had been a member who was not present at a meeting should not vote on what happened at the meeting. But if you believe Robert's rules don't prohibit it, I have no reason to believe that they do. I just always believed that it would be difficult to confirm what happened at a meeting that you did not attend. So, I mean, if you feel,
I've reviewed the video of the meeting. I was not here due to a death in the family.
yeah, I have no qualms with
Okay.
you
I just
participating.
I didn't want to do something and later I just was advised by
Yeah,
a person
no,
on this council that that was not correct, and I wanted to make sure before I voted on this particular meeting that I clarified that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you can show it's with my full consent.
If there are no changes to the special call meeting, I will take a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Wilson. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
And, Council President, just as an aside, I would say that, you know, my opinion on that was formed primarily before we had this technology that allows the, you know, remote observation of meetings. So that's a good point, given what you stated, so, thank you.
Communication from elected officials, other officials, or agencies of the county.
Good evening, council. And I try to make this brief, but I thought maybe you might want to know a few things. Currently in your county, the Hasselberg Bridge project is moving along nicely. Duke Energy is up there moving power lines so that construction can begin there. The jail, of course, has come down, and the road construction on the north side of the courthouse is proceeding. Vector control is out and spraying. Mosquitoes and other bugs are very bad this year. They're on it. The highway department took down a building on the old Cowan property down near the industrial park and moved it to their highway garage on Carlisle. Oregon Church reconstruction and replacement of culverts is pretty well done and should be paved soon. We let contracts on several other miles of road through the community crossing funding. Mowing is on schedule. Parks are functioning, and camping and all the amenities at the parks are running. Any questions? Thank you.
Questions from council? Thank you. Any other communications from elected officials? Is that it? I've got a question, Michael.
Yes.
In regards to Hamilton Center, can we request State Board of Accounts do an audit?
I would imagine that Hamilton Center regularly is audited by the, now I'm making an assumption here, but given the degree to which tax dollars support their operations, I would imagine they are subject to either auditing by the State Board of Accounts or submitting an independent audit performed by a third party to the State Board of Accounts and paying for that independently. But it's certainly a request that you could make, and I don't think they, I don't think the state would, I think it would just cause them to look at to what degree it has been audited before and then give you a response relative to that. I think, yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay. Also, with the recent change in the law, can we send, probably our council administrator, send a letter to their board president requesting them at the next meeting in June to give an update on what their plan is moving forward?
That's certainly something I can help Devin accomplish, yes.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Reports from committees. There are none. Resolutions and ordinances other than appropriations. There are none. Ordinances relating to appropriations. Additional appropriation 2025-2029, 2025-29, Surveyor's Office. Mr. Allen? It's on page 6 of our book.
Good evening.
Any questions from council?
Mr. President.
Yes.
A couple of questions that came up at the last meeting. One was asked by Councilman Ellis in regards to competitors within the actual, like the United States. I found out that the Trimble, the company Trimble that you've selected, controls about 23% of the market within the United States. The largest is a company called Yardi Systems, and they're the #1 provider of surveyor equipment. So more answering my fellow councilman's answer. Also, in looking at this, just in case anybody on the council is interested, I made multiple phone calls to dealers across the country. So the Trimble company has geographical locations regarding who can sell the equipment. So we are covered by a certain geographical area, and the only dealer that I believe that covers Vigo County is the Siler Geospatial, which is where the quote came from. So we cannot purchase legally, we cannot purchase Trimble products from any other looking for a word here, dealer. We have to purchase from them because they have our geographical location. So that's just information for the council. Nothing further.
Any questions from council?
Yeah.
Councilman
And
Anderson?
this is coming from your perpetuation fund,
Correct.
and you need this equipment in order to keep doing what you're doing to create the
Right.
continuation of all
To
that.
keep GPS and all of our cornerstones in and everything like that. The equipment we have right now with the older technology, there's a lot of dead spots in Vigo County. And with this equipment, more satellites and everything that it collects for us to be able to get in that areas.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr.
Motion
Chairman.
by,
Chairman.
we got a motion by Councilman Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Wager.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Sir, I just also, I wanted to say that spending some time out on YouTube, this is a very big upgrade for you. This is some good equipment.
Yes, it is.
Watched several of the promotional videos, and the fact that the equipment that you're using is quite outdated. This will be state-of-the-art equipment. So I would tell you it was a good selection. Not that I'm a great surveyor or anything, but good job on that.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Randy Gentry,
Yes.
Nancy Alsop, Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
David Thompson,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Steve Ellis.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Additional appropriation 2025-30, Lost Creek Fire Protection District. Is on page 7. Any questions from council? Hearing none, I will take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
by Councilman Gentry, second by Councilwoman Wilson. Roll call, please.
Randy Gentry,
Aye.
Nancy Alsop, Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis,
Aye.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye.
That was a good speech, thank you.
That was fantastic. It's the easiest time I've had up here, so thank you.
Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Additional appropriation 2025-31, Juvenile Justice Center. Page 9.
Okay.
Good evening, council members, President Thompson. Regarding the request for the medical services provider, we would ask that you would table that portion of this. We also have some questions, and there are some major players in this whole issue that are out of town. So that will give us some time to get a meeting together and get things straightened out.
Thank you.
Regarding the Sallyport addition, just wanted to give you a little background history. And I'm sorry, Director Mueller, I forgot to introduce you to, and I might even forgot to introduce myself, so, okay. In 2024, the council allocated $400,000 in ARPA funds for the Juvenile Justice Center Sallyport addition. This project was needed because the existing Sallyport was small and being used for storage, as well as housing refrigerators for meals and snacks. This meant that there was not enough room to pull in and safely pick up or drop off the incarcerated youth. DLZ Engineering was contracted by the Juvenile Justice Center for design services. There were 4 bidders for this project, ranging from $353,000 to $475,000, with Hanning Construction being the low bidder. I spent the day looking over the bids and talking with DLZ and Director Mueller, and it appears that there were some miscommunication, and security cameras and replacement of the concrete slab were not included in the bid spec sheet. Thus, no contractors included these items in their bid. There are also some smaller change orders with electrical and plumbing that could not have been predicted. These change orders bring the overall total cost to $435,000. A couple things to note regarding this project. There's been a change in directors during the construction, and through no fault of former Director Loudermilk or current Director Mueller, has made things a little challenging with finishing this project. Just also important to note that this request is $35,000 comes from their non-reverting fund, which is paid for through non-Vigo County offenders.
Right,
Correct?
non-accounting
Would
case,
you like to add
yes,
anything?
Yes. So what I gave you was a list of all the change orders that were done, and that's the reason, basically, why we're over budget, is because there was numerous change orders done throughout the year of last year. And you have copies of those too.
The largest being the concrete, which was $23,000,
Yes.
and the security camera system, which after doing some more research, is not uncommon for contractors not to include that in their bid. And that also includes swipe cards.
The swipe cards, like all the intercom systems, yes. And also to redo our control panel. So in the control room, it's a touch screen, and that lets you in through the doors. And that's to redo that control panel and add the extension on both control panels, yes.
Councilman Ellis?
So this particular appropriation is to purchase cameras and the touchscreen and the badge scanners?
That's just can I?
Go ahead, yeah.
That's just a part of the overall why this was the cameras just came along last.
Okay.
And that's why that's kind of brought up. It's just a part of the overall overage of this project.
Right, because I gave you copies of the change orders, and basically all the change orders throughout the project is what has made the project over budget. It's not the camera systems themselves, because that's just the last item that goes for the project.
Gotcha.
Councilwoman Wilson?
Just for clarification, so the 35,000 will take care of everything?
Yes,
There's-
everything.
There's nothing else?
There's
that-
nothing more, nothing more.
Because the 400,000 was already approved.
Correct, yes.
So the 35, okay. Thank you.
Do we owe any money to any
No.
vendors other than for cameras?
No, other
That's
than
the
the
only one
cameras,
left?
that's it, yeah,
And that's 35,000.
correct.
I see.
Mr. President?
Yes.
So, talked to you today, talked to numerous people, ran into Commissioner Klinkenbeard last night. I spent a great deal of time trying to actually figure out what we're appropriating money for. And the odd thing about this is that the camera system, which is been missed in the original $400,000 bid, the best that I can tell. ICS, our local camera installer that did the courthouse, does the jail, sent me their bid, and that bid alone was $39,689.93. They also are subcontracting with a new company out of Indianapolis to put the card reader in. My concern, as I expressed to you today, is that I am 100% unclear as to how we get to $35,000 covering the remaining balance.
Because there's still $16,000 of ARFA money that is going to be used towards this.
Well, this bill right here shows two cameras for $3,972, and that doesn't equate to anything that I see in the camera bid. And as I talked to ICS, they're telling me that it was multiple cameras. They even sent me a diagram of the building and said there were multiple cameras that still needed to be installed, and the, whatever you call it, the control panel, the ID panel, by the company coming out of Indianapolis now instead of out of Louisville. So I just want clarification. Is this list that you just gave us, the change orders, I'm still trying to figure out how the math works out, you know, in regards to that bid is almost as much as the change orders, trying to figure out how $35,000, and if that's correct, is that the amount you truly need to finish this? Because at the end of the day, let's not do this 4 times, let's just get it
Yeah,
done.
trust me, I don't want to do this full 4 times, but yes, it's $35,000 is what we need to finish it. So originally, they were going to replace 2 cameras, but when they went in to replace those cameras, they realized that the analog system, because the cameras were so old, they were 15 years old, was not going to go with the new system. So that's why they're having to replace 4 of the cameras instead of 2 of the cameras.
And this right here says 2, is that because it's 2 additional cameras?
Correct, yes. 2 original, and these are the 2 additional cameras.
So do we have the money to pay the $39,000 for the?
Yes, we do,
Once you approve this, $35,000 will go.
correct,
If you approve that.
if you approve it, yeah.
I mean, out of fairness, I still don't see how the numbers add up, but, you know, I'm just one person on the council, so, thank you, Mr. President.
Further questions from council? Hearing none, I will take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Wager. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Wilson. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Randy Gentry,
No.
Nancy Alsop, Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis,
Aye.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes
Thank you.
5-1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I make a motion to table the $160,000.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Gentry and a second by Councilwoman Wilson. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Additional appropriation, 2025-32, Health Department.
Joni Wise, Administrator. This request was to fund the food pantry for fresh meat at New Life. And it's utilizing our 2004 Health First Indiana carryover funds.
Any questions from council?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Wager and a second by Councilwoman Wilson. Roll call vote, please.
Randy Gentry,
Aye.
Nancy Alsop, Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis,
Aye.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
and David Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Amended salary ordinance, 2025-13, Auditor's Office. Page 11.
Larry Hutchings, Auditor, requesting a grade change for Judy Delisle from a 10 to a 12 to make her a supervisor, a financial supervisor. She has tenure. She knows so much, and she's benefited this county in so many ways. Any questions?
Question.
Councilman Manelis?
Admittedly, I'm still new to the council, so I'm still learning, and I don't understand all the processes and procedures. My question is it, what allows us, and this may not be directed to you, maybe it's directed to our attorney, what allows us to raise a person's pay grade? What criteria need to be met if they're, and from everybody I've spoke to, it sounds like she deserves the raise, that she's critical for your department. But I also don't want to do something that isn't the right way for us to go about doing it. So my question is the pay grade justified? And if so, what makes it justified?
What makes it justified is the fact that there are 2 other financial supervisors in this county at a grade 12, and she's the only one at a 10. And that makes it justified.
Mr. President.
Councilwoman
You know,
Wicker?
I could say also in addition, I think that some of the duties that she is performing at this time had been performed by people who've left
Correct.
here.
That is correct.
And had long-term training by going to auditors' conferences that your new staff has not had the opportunity to attend those conferences, but Judy did pick up all that slack, and she's performing that job now.
Most assuredly.
So it's an expanded duties that she's doing.
And it will reap benefits in the future.
Does she now supervise individuals, whereas maybe before she did not?
Me.
Big time job, too.
Yes, to your answer. She tells me what to do every day.
Mr. President.
Councilwoman Wilson?
I just wanted to clarify something that I think I heard last week, but I'm not 100% positive. You're going to be giving up overtime hours in exchange for the pay grade and the increase in salary? Like how much overtime were you giving up?
So the difference is roughly, let's just say $7,000.
Okay, in overtime?
Right.
And
We had, and we found this out several months into being here, that we have an overtime budget for the auditor's office of, I'm now finding out, probably around $42,000. The question was asked by Councilperson Nancy Alsop last week, how much is left in that? Well, we had to do some math because there are some things that rolled over. We also had a lot of payouts. We had a lot of people leave, so we had to do some payouts. So on my best guesstimation in the math that I've done today, with the help of Judy, I'm looking around $22,000, let's just say $22,000 is what we have in it right now.
And you're going to give up
So
an equivalent amount
in
of...
budget, when we go to budget,
Mhm.
instead of asking for 42,000, I will only ask for, I believe, 33,000
Okay. Okay.
to make that difference. It's that important to me.
Mr. President.
Councilman Gentry?
The flaw with that is that it doesn't help pay for the position now. The other thing that I'm highly concerned about is this council takes these pay grade changes with a grain of salt. Every time that we take one of these actions, it affects another employee in another department. The fact that Judy is not a financial supervisor, we are moving her to a financial supervisor, and then you're asking to then move her pay to the financial supervisor rate. As I clearly stated at the Sunshine meeting, I am not against Judy getting a pay raise. I was the one that also supported ultimately the assessor's move to midpoint. I just think that mid-year, we're not even mid-year, we're past mid-year, we're months away from a new budget, that a pay grade change is something that the Budget Committee can easily take care of. I believe that the best way to handle this, and again, I'm only one voice, is to move Judy to the midpoint or compensate her in a way that would meet that amount of money. I also think you should counterbalance that cost using the overtime effective now, not in the next budget. I mean, the same situation is going to happen at budget time, and do appreciate the fact that you're going to ask for less overtime moving forward, which will compensate moving forward, but there's nothing to counterbalance that right now. And Mr. Auditor, I would say that one of the things that I'm highly disappointed about as a council member, and since you're at the microphone, I'll give you an opportunity to answer this, and it's associated with this particular request, is that this council has spent more money since January for the same time period that any other council has spent in the last 10 years, just appropriating money left and right. I've asked repeatedly the members of the leadership of this council as well as the auditor's office, I'd like to know where we are financially. We either have a whole bunch of money laying around and we have thoroughly taxed the local citizens and pooled up a bunch of money, or we must have a printing machine in the commissioner's office that we're just printing money, because we are spending money over and over and over. And this is just one piece. And I understand that people may go, oh, this is $7,000 and it's no big deal and Judy deserves it. I agree, Judy deserves it. But there's been a council, and what was represented last Sunshine meeting a week ago, was that she deserved this 3 years ago. And every council passed. The auditor's office did not give Judy that raise. And all of a sudden, we have a 911, middle of the year, and I'm one member of this council. I met with Mr. Anderson out in the parking lot after the Sunshine meeting, and I said, where are we at financially? I don't know how much money we have. I don't know where we're getting the money to spend stuff. And we continue to make these decisions every month. And I don't operate my personal finances like that. And I don't believe that we should be operating with taxpayers' money like that. So sadly, you're there. If you want to answer that, that's fine. But I mean, I would love to have some type of assessment as to where we are financially, where's the money, and how are we affording all these appropriations one after one after one after one each month. Thank you, sir.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Wager.
motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Wager. We have a second.
Sorry, another clarification. Baker Tilly said that her position, this is a question, not a statement. Did they say several years ago that she should have been at this grade 12 and they didn't promote her to that grade for some reason?
So Baker Tilly made this, in the study, that was correct. I don't believe that budget said that, if I remember right. The
Right.
budget committee did not do that. For whatever reason, I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry
We
about
have
that,
a
yes.
motion on the floor to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Anderson. Discussion?
Oh, sorry, now is the time for that, sorry.
Sorry. Roll call vote, please.
Oh.
Randy Gentry,
No.
Nancy Alsop, Brenda Wilson, Steve Ellis. Oh, Brenda Wilson. I'm so sorry. I'm just reading it. Go ahead.
Aye.
Okay. And then Steve Ellis,
No.
Vicky Weger,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 4-2.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we get an update on how much money we have spent out of the general fund this year? I can probably assure you that it's not more than any other council at this point in the last 10 years. Two of those expenditures were Sheriff's Department, that was last administration. The other was a court mandate, which was last administration as well. Other than that, I don't know if there's been any major purchases. Can we get that? Thank you. Councilman Anderson?
I have, being president of the Budget Committee, going into this, it's going to be a very difficult year with what the governor is doing with tax stuff to look to the future. Again, the mandates and unfunded positions that were in there. I have asked for for the Budget Committee, which we will be starting on the end of this month, where we are, what has been spent, and doing that. You know, and Randy is right, that you can't take it out of next year's budget to fund something today. So we got to make sure that it's there, but we will be looking at that, and I should have all that by the end of the month. Right, guys? Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Klinkenbeard, can I ask you a question before we move forward?
Yes.
Baker Tilly had given us a report.
Yes.
Maybe a month ago before Senate Bill 1. Are there any plans for them to come back?
Yes, we actually met with them late last week, I believe it was Thursday, and obviously everything's changed since that passed. Their goal is to have us an update mid to late next month, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And we would love to have you included in that, or Budget Chair.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Additional appropriation 2025-33, Auditor's Office, page, is that the one we just did?
It's the
We did the grade
appropriation for,
change. 2025-33, the position change salary, page 12. So the additional pay increases $6,703.47, correct? All right. If there are no questions, I will take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Wager,
Second.
second by Councilman Anderson. Roll call vote, please.
Randy Gentry,
No.
Nancy Alsop, Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis,
Aye.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 5-1. Additional appropriation 2025-34, Drug and Veterans Court.
Good evening, Charles Johnson, Vigo County Division I Judge, Taylor Tranquil Coordinator for Vigo County Drug Court as well as Veterans Court, here requesting appropriations of funds in 9108, the Veterans Court Fund for $1,000 in equipment for a new computer and $500 for parking, and in 2511, $2,000 for equipment for new computers and $10,000 for drug screen contract payments.
Questions from council?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Gentry, a second by Councilwoman Wilson. Roll call, please.
Randy Gentry,
Yes.
Nancy Alsop, Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
Steve Ellis,
Aye.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
David Thompson.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you. With that, honorary resolutions. Did I skip one?
He had two, I think he had two, the combined. 9108 and 2511, they were combined.
No,
I
he
think.
put it good.
Oh, okay.
Are we right?
Is it right
He
to
put
just
them
do
both
one?
together.
They're combined.
Okay.
All right. Honorary resolutions, there are none. Resolutions relating to fiscal policies of the council, there are none. Appointments, none. Public comment.
Hi, my name is Pastor Tess Stevens. I pastor Allen Chapel, Historic Allen Chapel, right over here behind you guys, church, and I would like to make the following comment in regards to funding for jail expansion. Greetings, elected county council persons. I'm coming this evening to address a trend reported on Terre Haute Evening News that warrants clarification. It was reported that the Terre Haute Community Corrections is seeking $5 million mental health funding as a contribution towards a $40 million jail expansion project. The citizens of Terre Haute deserve further transparency on the complete impact the aspirations of the county corrections are proposing. The arching concern becomes whether reassigning these funds to community corrections is beneficial for our community. It would seem the immediate effect is a reduction of services rendered to the community by the Hamilton Center. We understand there is a need for more bedding to accommodate inpatient stay for citizens suffering from debilitating mental health diseases, but we do not believe those accommodations should be within the Vigo County Jail. Traumatizing families who are already experiencing traumatic circumstances isn't good stewardship by a body elected to serve all citizens of Vigo County. The criminalization of mental health diseases by incarcerating documented diagnosed mentally ill persons in a worse state than in the days of institutionalization is unnecessary. Our county is already suffering from one in 4 individuals having a food insecurity. Over 40% of the population is impoverished. The housing cost is escalating in the county, and we still have the water shortage in Lost Creek that has yet to be dealt with, and we are in the middle of a mental health crises. Are the citizens of Vigo County to understand this elected body of council persons desires to further the yoke of the neck of the citizenry by jeopardizing much-needed resources designed to assist mental health crisis, to expand the jail already known to be too small when the plans were drafted? We have been experiencing a decline in services being rendered without understanding the behind-the-scenes stratagem taking place to market for the jail expansion project on the backs of those diagnosed with the mental conditions. Furthermore, there seems to be a lack of transparency on the complete cost for expansion. Sure, the public is being told the construction costs, but are we being told about the cost to train current employees on how to handle mental health patients, or to hire trained staff to medicate and counsel mental health patients, not to mention the medication costs? Where are the funds coming from to pay for those additional expenditures? It would seem it's smarter to expand preventatives than to increase jail population. Moreover, than previously mentioned, concerns what happens to the patients that are currently receiving Social Security and supplemental Social Security income. Do they become wards of Vigo County? We believe there is a way to invest in the citizens beyond the destruction and demonization of afflicted citizens. I noticed there was an article in the newspaper concerning the salary of the Hamilton Center CEO, as if to say his salary is the root cause of the county mental health crisis. This body may feel the demonization is a strong illustration of an article releasing public information, but it appears to be contextual since the article did not publish any other local organizations who are recipients of federal funds. The market slant is, in the article, totally dismissed the Hamilton Center providing services for at least 3 counties, including Vigo County. The salary of the individual mentioned in the article has nothing to do with the suggested inhumane treatment of mental illness persons of our community by subjecting them to the county jail. This elected body should hold a town hall discussion with the Terre Haute citizens to discuss the effective solutions for both jail overcrowding, our mental health crisis, and even the shortage of water in the Lost Creek area. Please be kind enough to correct any misinterpretation and conclusion raised. We humbly await your response. Sincerely, Pastor Tess of Historic Allen Chapel AME Church. And I have a copy for everyone.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Clinkenberry?
President Thompson, thank you for your comments. I just wanted to clarify. Sure, okay.
I'm good.
Steve, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
You dropped something.
Your clip, your low clip. yeah.
Oh, and if I may say one more thing that I almost forgot to mention because I didn't concentrate on it in this presentation. But we had a committee of about 13 people, and we tried very hard to receive ARPA funding from the city council and also from the county council to do a work that would have prevented the necessity for having the jail expansion concentrate on mental health individuals. We asked for $12 million, and we carefully drafted that plan together to do work for various areas in underdeserved communities. And to my knowledge, none of the funding other than the funds that were competed for within the United Way were assigned to the disenfranchised communities. So, you know, that's an unfortunate loss. But I believe that the statistic is 1 in 4 individuals suffer from mental illness. So that means in this room there are several people that may openly or quietly be suffering from some type of mental illness. So if we cannot, you know, see fit to look after a portion of the citizens that were ignored in the ARPA funding, please let us not ignore the families of those that have medical conditions by subjecting them to incarceration.
Pastor Tess, can I ask you a question? Who did you present Cynthia ARPA to?
I gave it to both County Commissioner Chris, and I also gave it to former council person Todd Thacker. I talked with both of them, you know, for several times. Not just once, several times. Okay. And I've been pastoring here in this community. I was born and raised here in Terre Haute, but I've been pastoring here for, 12 years, going on 12 years, and have done much work in terms of on the ground trying to help people turn their lives around. Not just for black individuals, because I did prioritize us, but for every individual that is disenfranchised, whether they're black, white, yellow, brown, male, female, fat, ugly, white, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
And she's telling that's the truth, Tess. I know
I have fought for every last one, and then especially for our kids, you know, the transient families that can't afford to pay rent, that their kids have gone to every school in the district 3 times because they're constantly moving for eviction rates. So there's a lot that's at stake. I understand that, which is why we drafted that plan the way that we did to help address some of those issues. It was unfortunate that the ARPA funding was such a political piece that the money grab, and that's my language, did not consider the long-term repercussions. And instead of it helping supplement things that had been lost in the years, it turned into a means to satisfy budget shortages, which was unfortunate. But we can't keep utilizing one funding for a group of people to compensate for budget shortages on another end. We have to invest in the citizens. You know, taking potato chips and candy bars and pop off of food stamps just to add a higher tax rate on them is not gonna help people with housing problems. It's just gonna create a bigger problem for the mom that's just only giving her kid a candy bar every once a month just so that he feels like he's special. It's, you know, it's just going to prevent her from doing that. But I just think that we need to hear some of the citizens more that are listening and thinking and want to see a better community and may not have the backing or the popularity to win an election, to sit on a seat to to try to vote for a difference. There are voices that need to be heard and deserve to be heard, and there's a community that deserves to be served because everybody's paying taxes one way or another to contribute to the growth of this city. And we just boosted the cigarette tax to help compensate for the governor signing for the, the property tax incentive to, try to fix that thing. We can't just keep robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I'm not saying that just because we got an American Pope, but, you guys will get that on the way home. But,
Well, Tess, let me
we need to do something
Let me just
more.
say, I want you to hear just for a moment, I think maybe, Mark, are you going to talk just a... Okay, we're going to just tell you just a little bit about what this project is. It's not the jail. It's not the jail. That's a misunderstanding. Give Chris just an opportunity to talk. I know we'll have to beg him to do it because he's so shy.
Yeah, so we're going to be on the agenda tonight to offer a presentation for all of you to see about a community corrections expansion. So obviously community corrections has outgrown its space. This council was a huge part of that probably 6-8 years ago when this body decided to fund more for community corrections. So what we want to do is provide the opportunity for folks to get insured, folks to get medicated, and folks to get some type of programming to hopefully reduce recidivism back to the jail. So that's what the community corrections expansion is. It is a new building to the south of the current Vigo County Jail. You guys appropriated funds for the commissioners last year to purchase the 22 acres that are down there for around $220,000. But without knowing the current financial forecast due to Senate Bill 1, we didn't feel it would be appropriate to come tonight to give you guys a clear understanding of what could be coming. So that's why we're waiting on Baker Tilly until June.
Chris, it might be worth telling Tess a little more about what the project is so that she has a better understanding of what the Community Corrections Project.
Bill Watson is here.
Or Bill. And this is by no way me endorsing it or not endorsing it. I'm just saying I think she has a misunderstanding of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it, and maybe Bill will want to, but until we have a clear understanding of what finances or funding will be available, I would rather wait until next month to give a real presentation.
But what I want to do just right now is just take away that jail. It's not jail, it's not incarceration. Explain to us, Bill, what community corrections
Good evening.
is.
Bill Watson, the Director of Court Services. What it is an expansion of what is currently or has been offered at community corrections for approximately 6 years that this council funded. It was expanding treatment services for those people that continue to rotate in and out of the jail. Those services were substance abuse, mental health, basically focusing on dual diagnosis needs. With those people upon release, as they move into the community, their aftercare, they're referred out to other agencies to do that aftercare upon release, including Hamilton Center, Wabash Valley Mental Health, other entities as well. Currently Mindful Growth, other agencies that have opened up through the last 6 years. When they leave us, that aftercare follows and goes out into the community when they're no longer getting it while they're under the supervision of the correctional system. The expansion is just we're out of beds for that. The demand for that population has grown significantly in the last several years. So it's, people say, why can't you get people out of jail faster into there? Because we don't have the space. It's that simple. Whether people agree with that concept or idea or not, that's their choice. I'm not here to tell you that it's the right thing, it's the wrong thing, but it's what we've been doing to have an impact on that population. Before, we were getting people into these services that short term, they couldn't last 15 days. They were getting arrested, going back to jail, various reasons. And most of the time it was because we could not address needs quick enough for that population. So we revamped what was being done, looked at what could we do that may slow that return to jail down over time. And it has done that. And there's a lot of information and data that we have. Some people are going to say that's just data, and that's fine. They're going to say data says whatever you want it to say. But we know what the impacts have been and the people that we continue to follow that are not going back to jail, that have not gone back to jail in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. We track that. We have that data on those individuals personally. We still talk with them periodically. So It may not be the miracle cure or the miracle Kool-Aid or anything else, but it's having an impact now, and it's not about incarceration. This would allow us to expand those services to more people faster and add additional services that we can't add now that people have asked for because we just don't have the space. It's not that we don't want to. It goes away from the whole concept of a work release center. It's a residential center where people live, get services, stabilization, and allow them to go to work and come back into the community. The term work release center, most of you know, and you've heard me say, this cannot be that. It cannot be just a work release center. If you truly want to impact the population and treatment services, then we need to expand what we're doing and offer it to more people. We have in-house, we initially started with telemed services. Chris knows when this was the very beginning. Brenda, you were a part of that in the very beginning. David, Vicki, others up here. Brad, you were a commissioner then. We were using telemed services, and our volume outgrew telemed so fast we couldn't keep up with. They couldn't keep up with us. Brenda, I think you remember when the first time we talked about this, we talked about what, 20 people, 25?
Yeah.
I got 130 beds now, and probably 80% of those are filled with people with dual diagnosis mental health needs that we're trying to service. So that's what it's grown to, and we have gone in-house, internally. We went away from telemed psychiatric services. We were contracting with a company and getting a psychiatric nurse practitioner and not getting near enough hours a week to meet those demands. We hired our own in-house. That has changed and impacted it greatly. We are now in the process of hiring a therapist in-house because the people that we do our therapy with, telemed, they can't handle our volume anymore. Our people need more than what even telemed can give them. So bringing that all internally and expanding these services provides those opportunities that they cannot get quick enough at this point in time, but yet it still keeps them under the supervision and the restrictions and the guidelines of the court, other than just locking them up and saying, okay, you got to go to work release for 6 months or a year or 2 years, but oh, by the way, don't get in trouble while you're here. That doesn't work anymore. Anybody who thinks that works is wrong. It just does not work, because you can't change behavior without providing the services and the support systems and the things they need to change that behavior. Locking people up just does not work. You can't build enough beds to build yourself out of a capacity issue. That was tried in the 80s by California and Texas and others. And all they did was decide it don't work because they built more beds and they filled them up. They built more prisons, they filled them up. It's like the saying from the movie, build it and they will come. Well, that's kind of what happens. And if you build prison beds and jail beds, they will fill them up. Building these beds, people may not agree with, but they're beds not designed for incarceration. They're beds designed to provide services and treatment for people that when they enter into the community, they've already had a stabilization process, and you're not throwing them blindly into the road and saying, now go find your own and good luck to you. You served 2 years in work release. That's what we were doing. And 6 years ago, council members decided, what can we do to have a different impact? And that's what we've done, and that's what we're doing, and we've done a lot of good things, and there's a lot more, but it's not about locking people up. It's not. So, thank you.
Thank you.
We're not as dumb as we
And
look,
now-
are we?
And now you know why we believe so much in this program, because of Bill
That's
Watson
right.
and his leadership in that program. Pastor Tess, I appreciate your comments. What I wanted to address was the $5 million. That is actually a grant that we are seeking from the state that would go just for this type of facility, and that's up in the air yet whether we'll get that. But that would not take away from any of our mental health services in the county.
So I guess, and I'm not disagreeing that community corrections needs to expand in its alcohol space. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm suggesting is that the reason why he has that revolving door and the reason why people are getting arrested is because there are not enough interim beds in this county to give people a 30-day respite, a 60-day respite to get balanced on their medication.
interacted with the system enough to know that we have to send them, because no one can afford hardship. So we have to send them to Evansville, to Richmond, to Indianapolis, to some bed facility for them to get treatment for, because the short-term facility, Hamilton Center has less than 25 beds up there. Union Hospital doesn't have any at all, and Regional has, I think, maybe 6. And so what ends up happening is they can only stay in those facilities for a maximum of 96 hours. 96 hours is not enough time for anyone that's suffering to get their medication rebalanced and rebalanced in their system so that they can think clearly enough to be able to function the way they need to function to live on their own, or even with assistance with someone else, which is why they end up at community corrections, because the police arrest them, they go to jail, and they get sentenced, and then they end up over there with him. But if we change that cycle and work with the families and start trying to get better preventative treatments available, all of what he's offering them is what the Hamilton Center tries to offer, but the county has overwhelmingly overcapacitated the Hamilton Center. There ought to be partnerships that are available with churches, all these churches that have parish houses that aren't being used. Why aren't we talking to these churches about funding, remodeling those houses and getting the group homes where they can get their spiritual, mental, and their physical together, so that we can have a healthier county. When I was growing up, Vigo County was not as sick as it is now. And it was because there was an overwhelming village that wrapped around and took up some of this care. But the people that were taking up this care has either moved
Pastor
away
Tess,
or died.
I'm gonna.
We've got to do something better. I'm not
I understand.
trying to take over your meeting.
No,
It's too late.
I appreciate the conversation. It is a different conversation to have on a different day.
We know that.
Any other public comment?
Just to address the funding side of it, it's not property tax driven. This will come from local option income taxes. Former Commissioner Anderson's really familiar with that, so that comes from everybody's paycheck that's collected in the community.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I actually had one more comment, if I'm allowed to. Is it not appropriate yet?
Go ahead.
I can wait till next month.
Can it wait that long?
Can you wait that long?
I can absolutely wait that long.
I have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wager. Do I hear a second? A second by Councilwoman Wilson. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Means adjourned. Don't forget to sign.
Sign everything, guys.